You probably haven't heard of Site Echo 7. That's good. You weren't supposed to. Officially, it doesn't exist, just a stretch of desert somewhere north of Tonopah, a cluster of antennas buried under sand, and a handful of people with clearances higher than their pay grade. I was one of them. Communications officer. My job was simple: monitor radio frequencies from deep space. NASA, JPL, Air Force satellites, all the same soup of static and telemetry. Most nights, the feed was just noise. We'd drink bad coffee, run diagnostics, log signal strengths, and pray for dawn. The equipment was sensitive enough to pick up a Mars rover ping, a dead satellite tumbling past Jupiter, even the occasional cosmic burst. But nothing intelligent. Nothing alive. They told us we were calibrating deep space assets. I didn't ask questions. When you're working black budget contracts, curiosity is a liability. Still, every now and then, I'd stare at the spectrum analyzer and wonder. How much of that static out there was really just background? How much was something we didn't yet understand, or weren't supposed to? Then came the night shift of January 23, 2017. A clean channel, 8.392 GHz. The system logged a spike, faint, precise, rhythmic. At first, I thought it was a glitch. Until the signal repeated. Not random. Not noise. A pattern. That was the night I stopped believing in just static. At first, I thought it was just harmonic interference, a reflection off one of the deep space antennas. Happens all the time. But then the rhythm changed. 3 pulses. Pause. 5 pulses. Pause. Then 8. Fibonacci sequence. The AI filters flagged it as structured intelligence, non-human origin. The system tagged automatically, protocol code 78 red. I'd only ever seen that in the manuals, never in the real logs. When I reported it to command, the line went silent. No acknowledgement. 30 seconds later, my console locked itself. A red banner flashed, secure link initiated. Within an hour, base security sealed the operations room. Nobody in or out. My supervisor wouldn't even look me in the eye. He just said, asterisk, don't touch anything. Don't speak of this to anyone. Asterisk. They rerouted all incoming feeds through a classified channel and pulled the local network offline. Even the clock stopped syncing with satellite time, like we'd been cut off from the outside world. But the signal kept coming. Always the same pattern, repeating every 41 minutes, then shifting slightly, like it was listening for a response. I remember leaning close to the speaker array around 3:12 a.m. The static wasn't just static anymore. It had depth, a resonance, like distant machinery or a heartbeat wrapped in radio noise. And for one brief moment, I swear I heard something beneath it. A whisper. Not words. Just the shape of a voice. That's when I realized, whatever was sending this, it knew we were listening. By morning, black SUVs were rolling up the access road, unmarked, tinted, silent. The kind of silence that carries authority. They weren't Air Force, and they sure as hell weren't from NASA. Their badges just said asterisk, Department of Advanced Analysis. Asterisk, never heard of it before. They came with their own security detail and their own encryption gear. Within an hour, they'd taken control of the post. We were told to stand down and observe only. But I kept one ear on the audio feed. The pattern had shifted again, more complex this time. Layered. It wasn't a message anymore. It was instructions. The analysts worked non-stop for 2 days. No sleep, no talking, just code scrolling across dark screens. Every so often, I'd hear one of them mutter a number sequence or a set of coordinates under their breath. On the third night, someone finally spoke to us. A scientist, or at least, that's what he looked like. Gray suit, No insignia, the kind of guy who doesn't blink enough. He gathered the remaining techs and said, "We've isolated part of the signal. It's not language. It's spatial data. A location." I asked, stupidly, "A location where?" He didn't answer. But I caught a glimpse of the coordinates on his tablet. Not in space. Not even off-planet. They pointed to somewhere out in the desert. Our desert. 42 miles south of our own facility. That's when I understood, whatever was reaching out to us, it wasn't out there anymore. It was here. And it wanted to be found. 2 days after they decoded the coordinates, the ground started shaking. It was subtle at first, just a low tremor that rattled the glass on the comms deck. But the seismic sensors lit up like fireworks, all centered around one spot, the coordinates from the signal. At 2:47 hours, we lost connection to half our sensor grid. It wasn't mechanical failure, it was like the signal itself was burning through the spectrum, jamming everything from radio to telemetry. Even the fiber lines underground went dark. Command ordered a full-spectrum shutdown. But before we powered down, the main receiver caught one last transmission. Same frequency. Same rhythmic pulse. But it wasn't coming from space this time. The array showed the source was below us. Deep underground. The sound was distorted, like metal grinding against rock, like pressure building beneath the surface. The signal repeated faster and faster, until it almost became a voice. A single tone breaking into something that could almost be language. The scientists tried to record it, but every system corrupted within seconds. The data drives began to overheat, literally smoking. I still remember the moment the lead technician shouted, "It's calling back." Right before the entire control room went dark. No alarms. No power. Just the low hum of something vast moving somewhere beneath the desert floor. Then silence. Complete, unnatural silence. That's when I realized, whatever we had contacted, had finally answered. When the lights came back, everything felt wrong. The computers rebooted, but half the systems refused to recognize their own drives. Security footage for the last 6 hours, gone. The external cameras showed nothing but static and a faint, pulsing glow from the desert horizon, like lightning trapped underground. By dawn, men in hazmat suits arrived. They said there'd been a containment event. They didn't explain what that meant. They just sealed off the listening post and ordered everyone to pack up. We were herded into transport vehicles. Nobody spoke. Nobody dared ask questions. They took our badges, our phones, even our notebooks. Everything wiped. Before leaving, I saw them hauling out the servers in black, lead-lined crates. No markings. Just numbers. Whatever we'd captured, they weren't going to let it see daylight again. We were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements that made my clearance oath look like a joke. They warned us that any breach of silence constitutes an act of treason. As we waited for debrief, one of my colleagues, Larkin, leaned toward me. He looked pale, eyes bloodshot from no sleep. And he whispered something I still can't shake. "It wasn't from out there," he said. "It was from here. Coming back home." Then he got up, walked out of the tent with one of the agents, and I never saw him again. They said he was transferred. But everyone knew better. It's been 9 years since Echo 7 went dark. I moved east, changed my name, tried to rebuild a normal life. But the desert never really left me. Sometimes I still hear the hum, that same low vibration, just below hearing, like the world holding its breath. They said the signal stopped that night. That the anomaly collapsed or buried itself, or whatever story they fed the public about a seismic test range. The official report was 3 pages of black bars and lies. But a few months ago, I started picking up interference again on my shortwave rig, the one I built in my garage, out of habit more than curiosity. It came in faint at first. Same band, 8.392 GHz.